Ladies and gentlemen, the ring presentation ceremony will begin in 30 minutes. You will find the restrooms outside the east and west portals.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ring presentation ceremony will begin in 15 minutes. When the ceremony begins, please ensure your cell phones are turned off or silent. Ladies and gentlemen, the ring presentation ceremony will begin in 15 minutes. When the ceremony begins, please ensure your cell phones are turned off or silent.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the class of 2020 ring presentation. I am Cadet Quinn Conrad, and this is Cadet Adam Alexander. We are from the class of 2019 and 2021. We will be the masters of ceremony for today's ring presentation. The class of 2020 and the stage party will be entering shortly. You will be asked to stand for the procession and remain standing for the national anthem. Please turn off all cell phones at this time. As the class of 2020 prepares to receive their rings, Cadet Alexander will provide you with some background information about VMI and ring figure. VMI is a place of tradition, honor, integrity, duty, and selfless service. It is our belief in these values that sets us apart from any other country, from any other student in other colleges around the world. The tradition of ring figure also sets us apart. This is a brief history of the VMI class ring.
History of the ring. The presentation of the VMI class ring and the formal dance known as ring figure represents an important milestone in the life of the VMI cadet, second only to graduation in importance. Although VMI opened in 1839 and the first cadets graduated in 1842, the earliest cadets did not receive VMI rings. The first ring was designed by the members of the class of 1848 and was presented to the graduates during their final celebration. Cadets paid $5 for the rings, a large sum of money in the mid-19th century. The original ring was simple in design. The word mispa was cut in the top bezel stone in Old English script. The word mispa was translated from Hebrew as watchtower, as an emotional bond between people, which is seen from Genesis 31:49. The Lord watched between me and thee when we are absent from one another. The term signified brotherhood, the enduring connection among the 24 graduates. Throughout the late 19th century, the practices of having a class ring was observed by some classes and ignored by others. If a class chose to have a ring, it was presented just prior to graduation in an informal setting. Cadets gathered in the Brother Rat's room and all put on their new rings simultaneously. The customs of receiving class rings became firmly established beginning with the class of 1908, which also established the tradition of the rings being distributed during the second class or junior year. The class of 1928 started the present ring figure tradition at the Thanksgiving dance in 1926. This first ring figure was held in the old gym in Jackson Memorial Hall, where the VMI Museum is currently housed. Cadets escorted their dates to the red, white, and yellow decorated gym, where the class formed the numeral 28 on the dance floor. Before their dates slipped the rings on the cadets' fingers, closing with an old yell from the class of 1928. The tradition of ring figure was born. With each successive year, new traditions were added to the event or changed by the class planning ring figure events. The class of 1929 carried on traditions started in the previous year, but added their own twist. The cadets received their ring from their date beneath a rose-covered arch. In 1930, the event was moved to the new gym in Calk Hall. In 1932, the dance was held as a formal military ball with Calk Hall richly decorated in black and white. In 1933, The dates of the class in 1935 added the tradition of wearing a white gown to the ball. The class in 1962 was the first to commemorate key events of their shared experience by establishing the class side of the ring in 1960. In 1961, Lieutenant General George R.E. Schell, VMI class in 1931, and the Institute's 9th superintendent initiated a change that continues today, that of presenting the ring to each cadet in the class. The class in 1966 designed huge replicas of their rings for cadets and their dates to walk through before going to the rose-covered arches to receive their rings.
Over the last few decades, ring figure as an event and the rings themselves have become increasingly larger and more elaborate in design, in marked contrast to the much plainer examples from the 19th century. It is now time for the class of 2020 to join in this tradition. Please stand for the procession of the class of 2020 and the stage party. Please remain standing for the national anthem.
please rise for the national anthem. Please take your seats. General P, distinguished guests, families, friends, dates, and brotherettes, we welcome you to the class of 2020's Ring Figure presentation. My name is Chase Whitney, chairman of the Ring Committee, and joining me on stage are the following: General J.H. Binford P. III, VMI class of 1962, and VMI's 14th superintendent. Our class leadership: Cadet Sam Trepp, class president; Cadet Josh Austin, class vice president; and Cadet Josh Akers, class historian. Brotherettes, congratulations. Congratulations on making it to this point in your cadetship. 818 days ago, we formed up in this same hall, scared, nervous, excited, from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all across the nation. And today, with these rings, we become a unified family. More than a class, we tap in to those who have come before us, who also wear the ring. Through our shared suffering in the past, we paved the road to today. As you look at your ring, remember everything you've put in and everything you have sacrificed to get to this point. Remember everything it stands for. The symbol of our hardships, our unity, our strength, and allow it to represent the best class to ever walk through barracks. It's truly an honor to call myself your brotherette. And thank you all for supporting me, supporting the rest of us, and making this happen. And we would have done it without it, but we're glad we could do it for all of y'all. Through the late nights, the early mornings, and all the struggles in between, each and every single one of you has proved yourselves worthy of wearing this ring. And even though there are more late nights and early mornings to come, this weekend is ours. So enjoy it. Enjoy every bit that has gone into it, and enjoy it to your fullest. Brotherettes, revel in this accomplishment. Revel in this achievement and your link to those who have come before you. Conduct yourselves with honor when you wear this ring, and remember that it reflects more than just you. My Ring Figure Committee and I, as well as the General Committee, have been working hard for months to make this weekend happen. So on their behalf, go out, enjoy it. As we go from Other Eye, be safe in your travels home. Have a restful furlough. Now I'd like to hand it over to the Vice President, Mr. Josh Austin.
Thank you. General P, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, family, friends, and most importantly, brotherettes. I also would like to extend a cordial welcome class of 2020's ring presentation ceremony. Traditionally, ring figure emphasizes the prestige and pride of wearing the VMI ring. This is certainly understandable, and indeed, this day is a milestone of our cadetships. However, I would like to take a moment to consider why wearing the ring inspires such pride. Is it only because we have earned it? Is it only because we have completed a 2-year initiation into some kind of elite club or organization? On the surface, it might seem to be something like that. But that's a small part of a much bigger picture. The VMI ring inspires respect in those who recognize it because the nation accepts the good character of the wearer on credit. It is assumed that VMI men and women possess those attributes distinctive of the Institute, and a VMI man or woman is known by the wearing of the ring. The task of meeting those expectations is about to fall squarely on our shoulders. And with that privilege, wearing the ring is undoubtedly a privilege, and with that privilege comes great responsibility. Brother Rats, let us resolve together to wear our rings not as trophies, but as reminders of our obligations to each other as a class and to the Institute as her faithful sons and daughters. Whenever we gaze upon the designs etched into its surface, whenever we feel its weighty mass of gold on our fingers, let it strengthen our resolve to uphold the high standards of personal honor, professional competence, and selfless service that others expect from us as a matter of course. May it ever call to mind the shared suffering we endured and the priceless lessons we continue to learn within those gray stone walls. Raw 20 and Raw Virginia Mill. At this time, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker who, quite frankly, needs no introduction from me and whose extensive biography can be found inside the program. Ladies and gentlemen, VMI's 14th Superintendent, General J.H. Benford P. III, VMI Class of 1962.
Ladies and gentlemen of the class of 2020, faculty and staff, members of the Corps of Cadets, families, dates, and friends. Today, along with matriculation, breakout, commissioning, and graduation, is a special event in your cadetship, and I'm truly honored to be present today to present you your ring as you pass this very special milestone in your journey as cadets. The VMI ring is an outward sign of the inward strength of character, intelligence, and determination that you possess and have demonstrated in overcoming many challenges since you entered the Institute a few short years ago. Furthermore, it is an emblem that signifies that you have truly entered into the community of VMI men and women. And this afternoon, I am reminded of my own class rings presentation ceremony in J.M. Hall, what seems a short 58 years ago. I remember gathering with classmates, girlfriends, in my case a blind date, and families. I remember waiting with anticipation to receive my ring, wishing that the speakers would quit dwelling on ancient history and on how special the day was, so we could get on with the real business of the day, the ring presentation. So just put up with me for a few minutes. I do understand. In this way, perhaps, it was like many other convocations and ceremonies held at the Institute. But unlike so many of them which quickly fade or run together in one's memory, that ring presentation ceremony has never faded from my memory. I remember our guest of honor, Catherine Marshall, widow of General George C. Marshall, our most famous graduate and one of our nation's greatest heroes. What a splendid occasion. General Marshall had passed away the previous year, and our class selected a ring design that memorialized his magnificent contributions to our nation. The escort for Mrs. Marshall, Cadet Klaus Burmeister, received the honor mainly because he was one of the few cadets that day without a date. And in a strange twist of fate, however, Klaus's duty as escort became newsworthy. An enterprising newsman discovered that Klaus Burmeister was a second-generation immigrant from Germany whose father had been a Luftwaffe pilot in World War II. So it came to pass that Klaus Burmeister, son of a former officer in the Nazi war machine, an American citizen and VMI cadet, class of 1962, escorted the widow of General George C. Marshall, the architect of Allied victory over the Axis powers, and as you know, author of the Marshall Plan, the blueprint for post-war European reconstruction that led to the development of a thriving Germany democracy. Our ring ceremony transcended our own concerns and symbolized reconciliation of old foes at the height of the Cold War, a period when the United States was leading the fight against the Soviet Union for security and the freedom of men and women around the world. My class honored Mrs. Marshall for all that her husband represented by awarding her our class ring, which is on display today at the George C. Marshall Foundation. I remember receiving my ring and marveling at its large size and intricate design. As I stared at it, I realized that I was more than halfway through my cadetship. Graduation was within my grasp. There was light at the end of the tunnel, and it wasn't a train. This was one of those special rites of passage, a defining moment in my life and in the lives of my classmates, just as you. I gazed at my ring during the evening and in the days and months and years that followed, and I tell you, I also do it today. I remember going to the Richmond department store of Millen Rhodes a few months later and placing my hand on the counter as I looked at a display. A sales girl came up, saw my ring, was impressed, and inquired about it. I was somewhat then and even now embarrassed by the pride I felt as I explained that I attended the Virginia Military Institute, and the VMI ring was a material reminder of who I was and what I represented, as you have heard from several of the speakers this morning. I remember some 6 years after graduation returning home from Vietnam shortly after the Tet Offensive of 1968. I'd been in that country a year, recovering from minor battlefield wounds and fatigue. I'd lost considerable weight. And somewhere along a Virginia highway, my ring slipped off my finger and was lost. I was sick to my stomach. There I was. I'd survived fairly heavy combat in Vietnam and was finally home, but I'd lost my class ring. And I prayed that someone would find it and return it to me. Well, the original ring was lost, and that hurt. It hurt very badly. I remember a few years ago being told that near the end of the Vietnam War, another VMI graduate came across a North Vietnamese prisoner of war wearing a VMI ring. He retrieved it and checked the engraving. The ring had belonged to my classmate and F Company commander, Captain Jim Rogan. He'd been killed in combat several years earlier. The ring was returned to Jim's family, and I'm certain it meant very much to them. So with your ring ceremony today, these seemingly jumbled thoughts came to mind, and I wondered last evening about their significance. And after a while, it dawned on me that these very personal and simple memories offered insight into the true meaning of the ring that you're about to receive. Your ring is large for a college ring. It perhaps is the largest of any in the nation. Its physical size and ornate carvings are your tie to the thousands who have come before you. You could have chosen an easier path. You could have saved yourselves the rigors that are part of VMI's Spartan way of life. But you didn't. You chose a path strewn with obstacles, a path that you negotiate daily through teamwork and selflessness and commitment, physical and mental courage, obedience, loyalty, discipline, and so important, honor. In this spirit, your ring symbolizes the Herculean trials that you have overcome at the Institute, the strong bonds that you have forged with your classmates, the stress that you have endured in balancing academics, athletics, the military, barracks life, and many other activities, and the burden that you now bear in remaining true to the ideals of the Institute today and far, far into the future. Your ring's large size and elegant etchings are physical reminders of the tremendous burden of leadership that each of you will now carry as you enter into your chosen professions, whether it be the military or law, medicine, politics, business, engineering, education, or other fields of endeavor. And in this, the 71st anniversary of George Marshall's pronouncement of his plan for rebuilding war-ravaged Europe, you and your classmates are beginning to take up that wonderful burden of leadership in the tradition of VMI graduates like Marshall. Your ring's large size and majestic features symbolize the very strict code of character that you have embraced, the stringent standards of citizenship that you're expected to uphold, the absolute sense of duty you're expected to follow. And if you compromise these precepts, the physical grandeur of your ring will be an immediate and electrifying reminder that you have failed yourself, your brotherettes, and the Institute. So as I considered these thoughts in light of my own experiences, I now understand why I felt ill when I lost my ring back in 1968. That loss was a sobering reminder to me of my deep roots at VMI and my bond with my close classmates. That loss touched on who I was and all that I could become. But fortunately, the physical ring could be replaced, for it was a mere hunk of gold and stone. And as I ordered a new ring, I was keenly aware that if I failed to live up to what the ring represented, that loss would be an irreplaceable loss. This afternoon is special, for it marks your giant advance in becoming VMI graduates. That special band of brothers and sisters recognized the world over for their sterling moral, ethical, and spiritual values. You join a glorious line stretching back now 179 years. So as you depart Cameron Hall today, pause for a moment. Gaze upon the academic buildings. Focus on the distinctive architectural ramparts of the buildings. Envision the Corps on parade. Glance to the north, past Kilburn Hall, down Route 11, into the heart of the Shenandoah. Recall your cadet oath on the battlefield 2 years ago and the symbolic marches to Newmarket. Envision an earlier corps of cadets forming up in the barracks in preparation for their courageous march to Newmarket and a lasting place in history. Close your eyes and listen. You will hear the voices of thousands from the old corps, living and dead, whispering in your ears, "Well done, well done, well done, the great class of 2020." Wear your ring with a sense of honor. Our warmest congratulations from the Institute and all of us here today, staff and faculty, parents and friends, offering our congratulations. Congratulations. Now, I know you know what I'm going to say next, right? I know this is going to be a fun weekend. I can tell you your parents and girlfriends and families all want me to say what I'm going to say, so I'm going to say it, and then we're going to get on and get this formation underway. This is a fun weekend, and I ask your very best judgment and maturity in all actions while celebrating. Take care of your brotherettes and take care of your dates. And let's have a safe and memorable ring figure that we can be proud of your class and VMI. I don't think you've thought about this yet. It's hard to believe. In a short 9 months, you will return to the Institute as the first class to lead the Corps of Cadets. This weekend is very, very important to that legacy. So God bless the class of 2020. Okay, let's get on with this.
General P and Cadet Trepp will officiate. Please hold all applause till the end. At this time, we will begin the presentation of the rings to the class of 2020. Cadets, prepare to receive your rings. Yeah, football kids are going first. Joshua Andre. Jonathan Baker. Elliot Brewster. Suar Kennedy. Devin Carper. Ryan Clark. Aaron Gallagher. Kendrick Jackson. Andrew Johnson. Anthony King. Javian Laura. Najee Lawrence. Rohan Martin. Alexander Ramsey. Connor Riddle. Tian Smith. Caleb Tucker. Kalia Ardema. Justin Adams. Brad Agee. Matthew Agnew. Eugenio Adjavon. Zachary Albino. Nathan Alford. Brady Allen. Connor Amato. Trevor Amato. William Anderson. Zachary Anderson. Tristan Andrew Jans. Kevin Andrews. Tavis Andrews. Joshua Arthur. Aiden Atchison. Jacob Bayman. Thomas Bayham. Dylan Barrero. Darren Barrill. Frank Barksdale. Aaron Bearclaw. Madeline Barrett. Owen Berry. Taylor Bate. McGregor Baxter. Christopher Beck.
Liette Bell. Felix Bennison. Thomas Burgee. Alec Berry. John Berteling. Zachary Bertrand. Ryan Vess. Callie Biles. Skylar Birdie. Zebulon Bishop. Matthew Blazer. Samuel Buis. Jason Bowen. Maya Boyd. Alexander Boyer. Anna Bozenka. Anthony Bratt. Jared Brayman. Caleb Brandon. Daniel Breslin. Sierra Brewer. Tasman Briganti. Mason Briggs. Chad Brown. Heather Brown. Jeremiah Brown. Michael Brown. Paul Brown. Sean Henry Brown. Rebecca Browning. Jack Buck. Anthony Burgess. Colby Burke. Douglas Burkhart. Aubrey Budo. Matthew Bird. Thomas Callahan. Brandon Campbell. Michelangelo Cow. Owen Carney. Sean Carroll. Jackson Case. Aaron Causey. William Cedarquist. Francis Celentano. Kaopu Chang. Shilin Chung. Jeremiah Chang.
Cole Childress. Cole Christian. Stephen Clark. Jonathan Kleins. Brian Collier. Austin Cooksey. Tyler Kramer. Caden Dabrowski. John Daniel. William Davidson. Morgan Davis. Dolan Delaney. Naveen Desai. John Dickinson. Abigail Demerick. Michael Diodato. Patrick Dolan. Nicholas Demoski. Isaiah Domio. Connor Dunlin. Lauren Dost. Alexis Dove. Alexander Dragan. Derek Duclas. Robert DuPont. Jordan Ebersole. Helen Elliott. Robert Englander. Noah Enix. Miguel Espinoza. Alec Awansik. Angelo Joel Fajardo. William Faleur. Hayden Faust. Madeline Fay. Kaysen Fearnow. Holden Fellows. Carlos Fernandez. Jamie Foster. Mitchell Frank. Samantha Franklin. Leonardo Franzinetti. Jackson Frieslag. Isabel Franch. Brandon Fudge. John Fuqua. Rylan Gagnon. Maxwell Gallahan. Dominic Gallo. Jacob Gann. Thomas Gann. John Gurrig. Wilson George. Garrett Gilkison. Robert Glasgow. Colin Godbold. Grant Goldsmith. Chase Goldstein. Matthew Gottlieb. James Granderson. Crystal Graves. Sumner Griffith. Charles Grimm. Joseph Gummo. Juan Gutierrez. Mackenzie Haley. Zachary Hall. Caleb Hamilton. David Henson. Jacob Harden. Kyle Harris. Zachary Harris. William Hart. Jennifer Hartman. Madeline Hassler. Ryan Hatton. Nicholas Hayes. Ethan Heatwell. Austin Henry. Logan Hill. Aaron Hittman. Clayton Hogue. Jacob Hogue. Joshua Hollifield. Michael Holmes. William Hostler. Annabelle Hovader. Tristan Howard. Yenchen Huang. Joseph Hughes. William Hunts. Thomas Hupp. Elizabeth Jackson. Hunter Jacob. Raphael Jaramillo. Grant Jenkins.
Benjamin Gion. Arthur Johnson. Carter Johnson. Blake Jones. Cameron Jones. David Jones. Padapan Kawasanit. Evan Kang. Ashley Casales. Colin Kearney. Tiernan Keast. Kevin Keaveney. Jacob Keith. Connor Kolensky. Patrick Keller. William Kelly. Zachary Kent. Cade Kiley. Sean Kim. Gabriel King. Joshua Kitts. Samuel Knapp. Julianne Noblet. William Kineski. Alfonso Kristolovic. Kenneth Kristolovich. Aaron Kubat. Carissa Kunkel. Dakota Kurtz. Braxton Cush. Liam Lacey. Andrew Lottie. Louis Lagarde. Fang Da Liao. Matthew Leinert. Seth Llewellyn. Christopher Lloyd. Zachary Lockhart. Mara Logan. Santiago Lopez. Romello Levinsky. Oh, sorry. Richard Levison. Logan Luckett. Cody Looper. Bradley Lithgow. Sarah McDougall. Adam Mann. Ethan Mahoney. Samuel Mancuso. Jasmine Mann. Michael Manning. Stephen Marn. Emilian Morogi. Benjamin Marsh. Sterling Martin. Jared Mazurowski. Douglas McClure. Zachary McClure. Anna McFarlane. Taylor McGregor. Ryan McHugh. James McKenna. Michael McNamara. Cameron McNeil. Isabella Melendez. Matthew Menia. William Miller. Christopher Milliken. Caleb Minus. Madeline Mosier. Andrew Moncton. James Monroe. Rhiannon Moore. Michael Morrison. Blake Mushigan. Ronald Mulak. Stephen Munn. Griffin Murray. John Neenan. William Nykirk. Anna Maria Nedi Garcia. Nicholas Nemsev. Holly Najabo. Emma Nobile. Keller Nochera Smith. Patrick Knott. Wyatt Novak. Trevor Nunes. Daniel O'Connell. Shane O'Connor. Andrew O'Rourke. Tucker Olshov. Alexander Oshirak. Charles Palandati. Dominic Parisi. Chan Park. Stephen Parrish. Jeremy Pascucci. Laura Payne.
Jonathan Peace. Mark Peak. Kyle Pearson. Emma Perez. Sarah Pesignelli. Mark Peterson. John Pilkington. Justin Polito. Andrew Polson. Donald Proper. Andrew Pruden. Fielding Quarles. Andrew Rosidi. Clayton Radford. James Renone. Mark Rathgeber. Zachary Reed. Nicholas Reynolds. Matthew Rice. Colton Richardson. Brianna Richmond. Benjamin Rising. Corey Rogers. Jacob Rollins. Thane Ralston. Davis Rowady. Nathan Royce. Brent Rushing. Joseph Ryan. Fred Salerno. Sadie Sandifer. Austin Sorokas. Logan Sawyer. Paul Schaffert. John Smank. Ryan Smits. Oh. Jack Scaleo. Oh, man. Anton Schultz. Logan Scott. James Siffert. Andrew Sekarek. Zachary Schaffer. Thomas Sharuk. Garrett Schultz. Russell Simpson. Carl Scarry. Austin Sloan. Bryant Smiley. Bradley Smith.
Garrett Smith. Ian Smith. Jason Smith. Julian Smith. Alex Snyder. William Saldow. Stuart Spurry. Michael St. John. Timothy Stallings. Austin Stansberry. Maxwell Stewart. Benjamin Stump. Walter Sturrock. Damon Sutton. Brittany Shapanik. Jack Taggart. William Tanner. Trevor Toma. Colson Thompson. Joseph Thornton. Christian Torres. Derek Tremblay. James Tolsky. David Turbyfill. Cullen Turney. Levi Ulrich. Joseph Veracali. William Ventura. Nicholas Wainwright. Andrew Wang. Cameron Warlitner. John Warren. Brady Watts. Chen Yun Wei. Luke Welliver. Alec Westall. David White. Braxton Wilkinson. Tyler Will. Annie Wilson. Stephen Wolf. Ava Wood. Jacob Wright. Andrew Wyatt. Kathleen Yates. Arthur Yee. Austin Young. James Zaccini. David Zingaro. Robert Zinsman. Abigail Zeich. You're first, yeah. Chase Whitney. And then you. You're next. Joshua Akers. Joshua Austin. Samuel Trepp. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the class of 2020.
Brotherettes, at this time, I ask that y'all stand up, follow the cadet ushers to form the figure, and we're going to conclude the event with an old yell.
Do you go in there?
No, they're going there.
Wait, are you asking if you have to go to their old yell?
I feel so bad.
She pretty, bro. I appreciated the guys that closed their box before they came out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the VMI Spirit and Doxology.
of VMI. Are you ready? Let's go! On the junior mill! Run, VMI 20!
Cadets, please return to your seats and remain standing for the departure of the stage party. After exiting Cameron Hall, After exiting Cameron Hall, cadets are to use the bridge over Route 11 to move to the Memorial Gardens for an old yell. Thank you everyone for coming to today's ceremony. This concludes the ring presentation.
Y'all are good. Let's get out of here.
Oh, you're not doing it? Okay.
There will be no further old yell.
Sam.
Don't you? Okay.
Trump. Hold on.
The class of 2020 is released until the ring figure ball at 1900 tonight.